Hello, Marietta here. I'm back with another video, and I'm so glad that each and every one of you had time to tune in and watch this video, because this video is going to be very important. It's going to be very important to a lot of people, because now it's almost like, are we giving up as Americans? Are we giving up on the American dream? I see so many people and talk to so many people that live off grid. They're actually telling the younger people that they need to get rid of their homes, get rid of their cars. They need to reduce their life down to as simple as it possibly can. And it's like, it's so hard felt to the younger group, because of the fact that they don't want to live in the woods. They're not interested in going to live in the woods. They don't want to run after no chickens. They don't want to make no gardens. They don't want to do none of that. We, as the ones that have been here and have lived a right long life, or is it fair for us to tell them to give up on their dreams and go into the woods, that their income is not enough? When we know it's not enough, yet we do know they don't have enough, but yet and still they want to live the American dream. They want the big house, the big car. They want the newer model stuff. They want all these luxury items, but yet and still, what we're headed for today and the way the world is today, it seems as though that the older generation are all getting rid of a lot of their nice stuff. They're sizing down. They're going to the bare minimum. I mean, right now it's almost like people are getting ready to start living under a rock. Just lift the rock up and crawl up under it. Is this what we want to teach the young generation today? Do we want to teach them how to live that way? Or do we want to teach them how to budget their money so that they can live a decent life? Because a lot of people are running from the urban lifestyle and they're running to the country so that they can have lower bills. They don't want to have to pay all the bills that you come with living in the city. They want to be able to be self-sufficient. They want to be able to raise their own food, raise their own livestock and things of that nature that you can't do in the city. So they're running to the country. They want to have that sense of not being connected to all those large bills, electric bill, the cable bill, the house bit note, the rent, and they don't want to be putting out all that lump sum of money as these bills increase. But what is that doing to our younger generation today? What is it that you think they see when they see us doing all of this, and yet we get ready to go into an era of AI where the robots are taking over things, and these people are ambitious. They just came out of school. They just graduated. They just got their degrees in their hands. I mean, so what are you going to tell them? How are you going to bust their bubble and tell them that the cost of living is too high, no matter what or how much money they're making right now, and it's not enough, and that they would be house poor if they go out and try to buy a house now with the interest rates being as high as they are? What advice? How is this advice going to be effective, and how are you going to get this advice across to them so that they can understand that you're trying to help them, not hurt them? You're trying to help them prosper, not hold them back. How do we have this conversation, y'all? How do we have this conversation? You know, the independence that they feel, the independence they work so hard for, the independence is why they left mom and daddy house and went to school so that they could be independent. Now it feels like we trying to teach them how to be codependent or hold them back, and they're not having it. The younger people are speaking out, and they're speaking out loud. And when I thought about this situation, thought about this topic, I said to myself, what do I say to the younger generation about what's happening today, where it won't make it feel like, you know, to them that I'm trying to teach them what mama and grandmama did, or what auntie and uncle did, or make them feel like they are missing their youthful years, and their youthful years are getting ready to be taken from them, because now they done went to school, they done got their GED, they done got their degrees, and now they ready to roll, and here we come with all this antique stuff, as they call it. The young people call it antique conversation. That's what this young person told me. He said, here you come with this antique conversation, and what we look like out there chasing chickens. We don't know nothing about that. We don't know nothing about washing clothes in no foot tub. We don't know nothing about y'all old era ways of y'all going out there raising hogs, and then y'all slaughter the hogs, and y'all do all that. We used to go into the grocery store and get our meat already packed. So my whole thing to the young man was to talk to him about budgeting. And I said, well, as you go down this road, even though you're old or young, you still need to learn how to budget. You still need to write up a budget plan for your household. You still need to make sure that you're spending within your budget. And matter of fact, I think it would be good for you to take time. Now, if I'm wrong, y'all help me out and type in the comments what you would tell a young person if they ask you this question right today, or talk to you about this right today, about budgeting, about not living out in the woods, and they don't want to go live like Daniel Boone back in the day, and they feel like their future is being taken away from them, and they don't want to do all of that. They don't want to learn all of that. They want the glitz and the glamour and everything shiny and everything pretty. They want to ride clean. They want to live clean. And they should be able to do just that. They should be able to do just that. But when you sit down and do the budget plan of the way the world is today and what the price of everything is today, I think they will see that their budget is maxed out. I would think they will see that they don't have enough money if you sat down with them and do the budget plan. I think if you would do the budget plan with them, they would realize that time they jump into that, even a one-bedroom apartment for $900 or $2,000, whatever they ranging out there today, they will realize that that's going to take a big chunk of their income when they should be better off staying in mom and daddy's basement for a while until things get a little better, until this heat get out of here after it gets out of here. Because right now, the budget plan is very important. They want to see what they're making opposed to what is going out, what is going to have to go out if they take on all this bills of their own, and they think that they're going to go and buy a house or rent a next lavish apartment or whatever they think they need to do and still have money to do life, because young people want recreation. They want to be able to go places. They like to fly places. They want money to spend. They want to be able to go to the mall. They want to be able to shine when they're out there. So they want to make sure that they got money to flex with. And if there's no money in the budget, then they need to see this in writing. Maybe they need to see it in writing so that they can stay put. And then another thing is, they're going to have to learn how to reduce their major expenses. They don't want to live on that budget. They don't want to live squeezed to the end. Right now, we know how to do this. We know how to, some of us know how to sit down. We know to get what we need and not what we want. We know all our wants cannot be made in this season. We know that jobs are being laid off. People are being laid off from the job. We know the economy's tight. We know that we're not getting no more income. Even though all these cuts are being made, our income is not going up. So we're still working with the same amount of money in the midst of all of this. So unless they could have come up with a way that they can team up with somebody, that is another option. They can go into an apartment with another person or 2 or 3 people, but they need to make sure that they got people that's going to pay their share, people that's going to be there for the long haul. They need to find out exactly what that person's, and it's sad that for them to be in a position where they got to literally depend on somebody else to make it out there. First and foremost, that's not really a good situation to go into to start with, because you want to really depend on your own income so that if these people leave you, you'll still be able to maintain and you'll still be able to focus and you'll still be able to live within your means. So this is going to be the biggest thing about teaching our young folks, and some of us old folks need to learn this lesson as well, of how we're going to make it through these trying times. How are we going to get from A to B? How are we going to protect our finances and our food source and our roof over our head and things of that nature? How are we going to do that? We got to reduce our major spending. You got to realize there is some things that we be buying that we don't really have to buy all the time. There's some things that we want that we don't really need, that we don't have to have. It's almost like, yeah, you do have to reduce your spending to a place where it may be a little uncomfortable for a while. But it's better to be uncomfortable for a while than for it to be uncomfortable for a lifetime, for you to lose the very roof that you got over your head, and then you end up outdoors, and then you don't have nowhere to go. And even if some of you are in bigger places and you need to downsize, The only problem I have with that now is this is a buyer's market. You could take your place and you could put it on the market now and you can get top dollar for it. But the sad part about it is, you cannot go and buy something else at top dollar with that same money in that same price range. That's the thing. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that if you pay if you sell your place for, say, $200,000, if you go out there and try to buy something, and that is like you making a profit from when you bought it maybe 8-9 years ago. Okay, now you take that $200,000 and you go out there and you try to buy a place now. You're not going to get a place as nice as what you bought back then. You may have to sell it for a little less, or you may have to just go ahead and start trying to rent something, which would make sense because you got this low mortgage. Mortgages are cheaper than rent. Most of the mortgages are cheaper than paying rent to this day. So if you're already in something, you're already in a home, you already got a roof over your head, it best you stay there and enjoy that roof over your head at whatever interest rate you got it at, because the interest rates now are outrageous. So if we're going to tell these young people how to seriously move, the best thing for them to do is, if you can stay where you are and stay put for a while. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the interest rates are going to go down or up. I don't know nothing about all that. But for right now, it is what it is, and it's entirely too high for you to be coming right out of high school or right out of college and you not having enough money to really just jump out there and call yourself trying to live, and then want to bring other people on with you, saying like if you want to marry your girlfriend at this time and you want to start having children right away, things of that nature. It's time for you to start being responsible, start thinking about this before you actually get yourself in trouble, and think about your medical coverage, your medical insurance. Make sure that you got good medical insurance to cover hospitalizations and things of that nature. You got to make sure that you're really covered before you go do this. You got to do all your homework before you get yourself out there and get yourself into trouble. You know, because I mean, it's easy to get out there and say, I want love and I want a house and I want a car and I want this, that, and other thing. And that's another thing. Transportation. When you think about living off grid, you think about the fact that you may need 2 cars. I always say I need 2 vehicles. But one thing about it is 2 vehicles come with 2 expenses. I'm going to say it again. 2 vehicles come with 2 expenses. So having a second car in this economy, as I'm thinking about this, it might not be good. It might not be good. If you got a car that's running, especially if you got one that's paid for, and I know because I want to upgrade too, I really do. And I'm really weighing my options. And I advise you to do the same thing, because a second car can be a major, major, major expense. You know, with the maintenance of it all, and the insurance and the gas, you know, and you got to evaluate these things. You got to evaluate these things as you go, because they do play a major part in your finances, and they will eat up your finances. And another thing, when you start talking about a two-car household, the insurance can be very expensive, especially if you're not married. Same way if you got phone payments and y'all not married, and y'all got 2 separate phone companies, and you paying over here on this company and paying on that company. There's a lot of expenses that are going to have to be evaluated when you start coming together in the same house, and you're going to have to start merging y'all a life together. You're going to have to do it. You can't just say, well, I'm going to still keep all my bills over here and I'm going to keep all my bills over here, but yet we living together, and that's not going to help either one of you. You're going to have to learn how to work together, learn how to merge some things, especially when you start talking about this is one of the biggest ones. And I know this is one that y'all really want. This is one y'all really want to do. You want to have children. And it's a beautiful thing to have children. Having little feet in the house, having that bundle of joy that you created is the most beautiful thing in the world. If you're financially ready for that responsibility. Another bill, another payment, another add-on, another addition to the family that's going to have to be taken under consideration. Baby things are not cheap. Baby clothes are not cheap. Doctor visits for a baby are not cheap. Daycare is not cheap. These are things you should look into before you even start going down that path, and put them on the budget. Put them on the budget. Start calling your local before you even create the child. Call your local daycare centers and see how much it would cost for them, especially if you know you can't afford to stay home for a year or 2 years after you had that baby already. So you can't afford to stay home. You got to go right back to work after your 6 weeks checkup. If you already know that already, and you already know what financial situation you're in, and you know what your spending habits are, call some of the local child care places around your area and ask them how much it would cost for you to put a newborn baby of 6 months into their daycare center. And start going to check out some daycare centers. That's another thing, because you got to be careful when you put newborn babies and things into these new places, because sometimes babies' system will not accept this type of environment, and they will get sick just from being around other children or being around other people. So you got to be careful even with that. There's so many unknown things that could happen that could cause you to end up having to stay home, that could shift the whole dynamic of your thought of what you thought it would be or what it would look like to have the wife, the husband, the house, the car, the new baby, and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, it's a lot goes into this. And a lot of people are not talking about this in the aspect of checking these things before you have the baby, before you get yourself into trouble, before you decide what your work, your job looks like. See what your income is going to look like. See exactly what your income is going to look like after you get done with all the spending. And after you're spending now, sit down and write a budget of what you're spending now and what it costs you to spend, and see exactly how that looks. How does that look for you paying a mortgage, when, especially if you're not paying a mortgage now, especially if you're in a rooming house now where you might be coming out of college and you're rooming with somebody now, or you're struggling to pay the rent that you're paying now with the income that you have. Well, your income is not going to change much if you stand on the same job, getting the same pay, and then you jump out there and you try to buy something which might make your mortgage a little cheaper than your rent, but in the same respect, Mortgages comes with their own challenges. Home ownership comes with its own challenges. Home ownership also comes with its own bills and its own rules and regulations also, depending on where you're buying at. But one thing I do know for sure, if you are buying where you got to take care of the land and things of that nature, there's going to be a lot of other things that you're going to have to purchase also at that time, like a lawnmower, like tools and things to work with. Even if you have a lawn service, now you got another bill, and lawn service, again, is not cheap. It seems like here in America, you just keep paying and paying and paying and paying and paying. So as an elderly woman sitting here trying to tell you, son, tell you, daughter, before you get out there, you need to do a budget plan, and you need to see what your income looks like. You need to see exactly whether or not you can afford what it is that you're trying to add to your life. Just add up the cost. Add up the cost of the housing, add up the cost of the transportation, add up the cost of the child care, add up the cost of the food, add up the cost of the recreation, because you know you want to go out and have recreation. You want to go out and hang out. You want to go out and enjoy yourself. You want to meet up with friends. You want to do things, and you want to look nice while you're doing it. So add up the cost and the cost of dressing up that house. There's a budget plan that can be done from the door, because remember, when you buy the furniture, you don't have to buy the furniture every week or every month, every year. Once you buy the furniture, dress the house up, but it is an expense into getting there. So you don't want to be there and you live in payday to payday, and now you're struggling and you miss one rent, or you get behind, or something happens, gets thrown in the mist, and now you all throw it off completely. Because once you get behind, it is truly hard to catch up. And I don't know who need to hear this message, but for some reason, it was heavy on my heart to get on this line and start speaking so that the young folks can understand why things are the way they are right now. Because I see a lot of the older people, they're already preparing themselves. They're already selling out. They're already selling them big homes. They're getting out of there. They're getting out of debt. They're really trying to head to the hills. They head to the hills where it comes their help. They know their help coming from the Lord. But our younger people need to have a visual of what it looks like and why things are going on the way they're going on today. So sometimes you got to put it on paper. You just have to put it on paper so that they can see it. So I would say, take your time, sit down with the young folks. Young folks, y'all new generation here, y'all go and find some people that you can sit down with, maybe mom and daddy them, grandmom and them, or either the neighbor or your school teacher or whoever you can sit down with that you can trust, that is older than you, that has lived a little more life than you, that has the things that you want or have accomplished what you already want, and do a budget plan. Go to some of the neighborhood new homes and see exactly the new builds and watch how they're being built, and then go to some of the open houses and take a walk through. This is some good advice I'm giving you here, so I'm just praying that you would take some of this advice. I don't know who this is for, but eat what you can and spit out the bones off of this plate, because this plate is being served. This plate is being served so that you will understand that life and being on your own is not cheap. It's not cheap. It's not like it was back in the day when you was glad to get out of mom and daddy's house. Now it'd be better for you, man. Be even better for you to stay in mom and daddy in the house, because that's protection, and that's where you will be able to save, and that's where you'll be able to buy the things that you need and come out of there when you're ready, when you're able, and you got your coins up, and you've already been on your job a couple of years, and you got some stability in your life. And they always said you got to crawl before you walk, and that's the truth. That's the truth. But we always want to break out running. We want to get our degree. We want to get our new job before we even make any money. We got a good job, and we're ready to jump on out there and go buy the stuff that we never had. With the first paycheck we get, we don't think about savings. We don't think about the tragedy that could happen, that could be ahead, and how we need to have some savings and things of that nature. We don't think about that because maybe it's been a place where we never really had a whole lot, and now we have, or we just have accomplished some things and we want to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So with that being said, I just want to throw that out there, and I just wanted to make this video so that maybe somebody that may be going through something, or maybe thinking about leaving home or leaving mom and daddy house, or maybe you just coming out of college or high school or whatever, or maybe you just an adult and you already out there and you're trying to decide what to do with the big house that you're in, or how to downsize, or you thinking about writing up a budget plan so that you can live a more simpler lifestyle, and you don't have to be struggling, and you want to make sure that you got your coins in order for whatever it is that's coming down the pike. And we know the world is changing. We see the changes happening. So while the changes are happening, that means some of us have to do some changing as well. We have to be able to change with the environment, the way things are happening, to be able to keep a roof over our head, and for us to be able to eat and keep food on the table. So there's it's just no way around it, because whatever's happening, as far as all the rules and regulations that have been going on in the world, we have to be able to obey the laws of the land, meaning that we have to be able to still live and eat and try to protect our home and make sure that we got roof over our head, and that the people that are in the home with us also are well taken care of, as far as insurances and things of that nature. So we have to do what we have to do. So with that being said, I pray that this video will bless somebody, and I hope and pray that, you will move accordingly. Move accordingly, because only you know what's going on in your life. Only you know. And if you have not turned your notification bells on at this time, please turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified when I drop my next video. Oh, and we are on a journey to 10K over here. This is why I'm asking for you to subscribe. It don't cost you nothing. I would really appreciate it, and I thank God for you. So, with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. And if you know someone that may need to hear this message, please feel free to share this message out so that somebody else shall be blessed. Amen.